How far will you go to save your dying husband? When David collapsed in our kitchen on a Tuesday morning, coffee still dripping from the counter, I thought he was just exhausted from work. He'd been pulling 12-hour shifts at the warehouse for months. But when he couldn't get up and his skin looked yellow, I knew something was seriously wrong. The ER doctor's words hit me like a truck. Late-stage liver failure. My 38-year-old husband, who barely drank and ate his vegetables, was dying. The only thing that could save him was a transplant, and we needed it fast. Then came the real punch to the gut. Our insurance company, the same one we'd been paying for 8 years, said no. They claimed David's condition was pre-existing because he'd had some stomach issues 3 years ago. Complete bullshit, but they didn't care. Every appeal I filed got the same response. The surgery would cost over $250,000. We had maybe $3,000 in savings. I called David's parents, thinking surely they'd help their only son. His mom Janet just sighed and said, well, maybe if he'd made better life choices. His dad hung up on me. They'd never liked me since day one, always thinking I trapped their precious boy. They lived in this massive house in the suburbs, drove luxury cars, but acted like helping us would bankrupt them. That's when I got this crazy, desperate idea that made my stomach turn. What if they thought I was out of the picture? Would they finally step up and save their son? I spent 3 sleepless nights thinking about it. Then I went to a lawyer and filed for divorce. I told David it was for irreconcilable differences and made up some story about growing apart. The look on his face when I served him papers almost broke me. He begged me to explain, asked what he'd done wrong. I couldn't tell him the plan yet because I needed it to look real. I moved out to my sister's apartment taking only a suitcase. David was getting sicker every day, and I was pretending I didn't care anymore. The hardest part was when he called me crying, asking if I was really leaving him to die alone. I almost cracked and told him everything right then. 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized, David's mom called him. Suddenly, she was concerned about her poor son going through this terrible time alone. She offered to pay for the entire transplant, no questions asked. Just like that, the money appeared. David got on the transplant list immediately. The surgery happened 6 weeks later. I waited in the hospital parking lot for 14 hours, not allowed inside because I was his ex-wife. When his dad finally texted that the surgery was successful, I cried harder than I ever had. During David's recovery, I discovered something that changed everything. While sorting through divorce paperwork, I found documents showing his parents had a trust fund in David's name worth over $1 million. The catch? It was only accessible if he was single or married to someone they approved of. They'd been hiding this from him for years, basically holding his inheritance hostage because they hated me. When David found out, he was furious. He realized his parents had been manipulating him our entire marriage, and they'd rather let him die than give me any access to their money. He cut contact with them completely. We remarried 6 months later in a tiny courthouse ceremony. But first, we sued the insurance company with a lawyer who worked on contingency. Turns out, denying claims for fabricated pre-existing conditions was their whole business model. We won enough money to pay back every medical bill and still have plenty left over. David's parents tried to take back the transplant money through lawyers, claiming we'd defrauded them, but the judge laughed them out of court. Apparently, paying for your son's life-saving surgery isn't something you can repo.